Thank you very much for joining me, Glenn Parker, High Vibration Foundation. You are watching Glenn TV. Thank you very much for joining me. I have other YouTube channels. I have one for my production company, another one for entrepreneurial education. I was thinking to myself today, why not post the ones from the entrepreneurial education on this channel as well? Yay! So, going to be a different variety of topics, usually some kind of business education, social networking, building websites, how to build, how to be an open networker and build a large network of people, any and all kinds of things. So down below in the description, there are links to be able to get consultation sessions with me for education of all sorts, to be able to have one-on-one remote control sessions. And now go get some popcorn and something to drink and enjoy the show. Hello, thank you very much for joining me. It is Glenn Parker. I wanted to do a video on WordPress themes. Why WordPress themes? Why are they so important? I wanted to show you some examples of themes that I use and why I chose them. Your shopping process, why you're looking for particular features, why it's so important to make a list and kind of take your time during the shopping process, why support is really probably one of the most important things to consider, and also free versus premium themes and my personal experiences after 10 years on developing with WordPress on both sides of that coin. So on with the show. There are quite literally an endless amount and more added every day of WordPress themes. There are new developers all the time. This is a website that actually sells, and they have tons of subsidiaries, but this is just for themes. Premium themes basically go from anywhere. I've seen like themes for $19.95 on up to $129. Generally between $40 and like $60 is where you're going to see them at. But you can see here features and categories and how many sales it's had, and by no means are any of these ones. I just pulled up this page just as an example, and on and on and on and on and on. So I have developed many WordPress sites, and what ends up happening if you buy a theme and you spend 10, 15, 20, 40 hours developing it and you find out it doesn't have all the features you're going to need, it's overly expensive to start building in features into a theme that you've purchased from a third-party developer and stick them in there. It really is, you just have to start all over in the development process for labor and time. Now I'm going to show you a couple themes that I have used. I'll show you my favorite first. After years and years of using themes, this theme provider here, Themify.me, is absolutely my favorite. And I'm going to show you some examples of why I like them. I'll actually show you one of my backends that are using Themify and why I use them. Now, I've used this theme. I have a client that's using this theme right now, and I will actually show you that website. There are tons of different features, and I'll start breaking down some of the different features that you're looking for when you're actually shopping a theme. Support is really one of the most important things you can have for a theme. Now, this is a responsive theme, and what that basically means, it is dynamic to the screen size. So it will actively change and filter down for a tablet, for any kind of cell phone device, and any kind of laptop or desktop screen size, or even if you're on like a large screen TV. Now, all of Themify themes are WooCommerce enabled, and that is very important. But even if you're not thinking of WooCommerce is an e-commerce plugin. It is a free e-commerce plugin. If you're thinking even not now of selling products, if at some point in time you change your mind and you buy a theme that isn't supported, that doesn't support e-commerce or WooCommerce, then basically you're kind of screwed and you have to do the development process over again. So it's not just what feature sets you want now. You want to project like a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the future as to scalability and what you might want. So it's a pretty standardized theme. It's a very nice theme. It's responsive. It's simple, easy to code. It has tons and tons and tons of different ways to get in here, and you can change the color schemes at a drop of the dime, and all these types of ideas. Tons and tons and tons and tons of themes. So they make, and this is also a very cool one. I'll just show you the demo really quick of that. The split screen demo. And all of Themify themes are responsive. Most themes nowadays are responsive. They just have to be. And they have tons of examples, as you can see as you're scrolling down. This is the split screen technology. This is a WooCommerce products page and built in. So the one thing I really liked about Themify was for one fixed price, you could get a club membership and you could get access to each and every theme and all the plugin libraries, all this additional features that you can put into themes for WordPress. And they constantly are making more and more and more themes. So if for some reason you don't like the theme that you're using, when you're using one theme manufacturer, someone who actually is, it's the same people who have designed it. When you have your customizations, they generally go from theme to theme, and there's less redevelopment time. So if you just want to change the look and feel and tweak it, it takes a lot less time. You can see a lot of how many themes you have for. So for like $139, you get access to all these themes. Whew. Adding all the time. And then they have tons and tons and tons of WordPress plugins that work with their custom builder. Now, all of theirs come with the Themify builder. You can buy the builder separately and use it on any theme so that you can make custom pages, but these are all the little add-ins that you get when you have club memberships, and you don't have to buy these individually. So you can get like a Windows tile type of style. And they give away some of theirs as well. Now, support is probably the second most critical thing for a theme. And, obviously it needs to be look and feel, it needs to be fast, it needs to be able to have like modern design. This is my favorite, and I use this theme quite a bit. Matter of fact, I have a couple installs of that, but I'm just going to give you a quick example of one of my websites, Prime Creative Films. It's not running Ultra, but this is all done with a custom builder. It's responsive, so it scales to the screen. And I can just go in right now, turn on the custom builder on a live screen, and start editing. And there it is. And all these little individuated add-ons and plugins that go into the builder are all these cute little plugins that you get. And then you can buy these individually, or you can get the club membership, and you literally can add any and all of these with your membership. You basically, once you get in to the member area, you have tons and tons and tons. Just access to everything. Over and over and over and over and over again. And you can use them on as many websites as you want for the club memberships. So it's very economical, and their support, since I'm using these on many clients and my own, I've had a very, very good Very good response time on support, which is really a critical item. If you're waiting for a day or two, or you don't get a reply at all on what you would see as free themes, because that person just designed the theme for fun, or it's an emerging business and they're still doing a 9 to 5 and you're left holding the bag. You have a WordPress site that has errors on it. I've used a lot of free themes that say in the back end you can do this, this, and that, and when you try it, it doesn't work and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we'll cancel out of this. And we're going to go into the Themify settings. And this is primecreatorfilms.com, one of my crowdfunding development platforms that I use to start developing ideas that I push off to Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So what's really cool is in this, if you need header and footer codes like for Google Analytics and whatnot, it's right there. You don't have to customize it and stack it in there. This one, you have just a couple default layouts. You can choose whether the title shows up on a page, where you want to hide the featured image for the page. The portfolio slug, like what basically it's going to be called. Customize, 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 customize. You know, whether you want like a sidebar, you don't want a sidebar. You can customize the responsive design. You can turn off responsive altogether if you have such a reason to do so. Sticky is this aspect of the site, like the sticky header. Turn off the site logo, the tagline, RSS, the social widgets in the top. At a click of the button, no custom programming needed. So like these can disappear when it says sticky. Let the page load all the way. As we're scrolling, you see how that stays up there and then the page scrolls around it. That sticky header, you can literally just turn that off just by clicking a button and going down and saving, and then you're done. And these are custom header and footer text and how many widget areas you want. So just click, 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 and you're done, quite literally. Social links, these. Okay, on with the show. Had a quick interruption. So I've opened another panel. I want to show you the Themify Ultra and some of the settings that go along with this, because there is so much time to be saved by just adjusting. So you can literally adjust the overall theme style, the font typography, like how you want the header positioned. And this is the Ultra theme from Themify. This is like the Uber theme of all their themes. Like header widgets, how you want it configured. Like you can get a little sub menu that goes down below, footer design, you know, and still you can go and you can exclude certain types of things from navigation. All these things are just a click of a button, and a lot of times in these themes you need to go in to the actual code and change it and add little snippets, and just it's just such a pain in the ass. And basically they saw a need and they just included any and every type of button known to man that you could ever want. So for instance, you can choose your layouts, and let's say like I disable content in my posts. You can sort by a certain like author or name, what ordering it is. You can disable whether the posts are there. Like for me, when you have a post, I don't want the author or the category or any comments or tags to be showing up. I don't want the date showing up. Now these are all just buttons. Now this is normally something that you have to go and change in the PHP code of the theme itself and constantly refresh and update, unless you get something that's a parent and child theme, and that's just a whole other type of interdependency to learn and to do. So again, for your post layouts, you can go and you can change things around. So these are things that are very important when you're choosing a theme, like how easy is it to modify? How easy is it to tweak? And I have this installed on a couple websites that I have developed. This is another theme that I've used, and I want to use this as an example of how, when you're doing your shopping, how important it is, like some of the elements. Like, for instance, support. When you buy your theme, you're getting support for 6 months. But after that, you're on your own. If you can't find something, you just got to search Google and hope that you find an answer that's applicable to what you're doing. And you can, for like a percentage basically of your buy-in price, you can buy extra support. So your net price is like, 76.70, and that gives you a full year. So you get a 6 extra months for $17. What I usually do when I'm rating themes, like how many people have purchased it, and then I look through the comments. I'm like, so what's going on? Are they having trouble? How fast are they replying? That's the support. Are they kind? Are they helpful? They're just sending them back to the support page, which is great. Are they giving them direct answers to like a knowledge base? I also like that. And you can even ask pre-sales questions, and I encourage you to make contact if it's a theme that we're not already presenting here, so that you can see response time and how nice they are and whether they're helpful. Somebody who's purchased a theme, hey, I need da 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 da, and oh, see, they gave them a direct link. Here are some places you can find that information instead of sending them to support page. How long did it take them to reply to that? It took them a day. That's not bad. 24-hour response time. That's not bad. So I go through and I read and I go through and I go through and then I send responses, and I try to put something in there as a question that's a very valid question to see if I can get some how my response time is. So you need some lead time when you're buying a theme so that you can go and do research and ask other people who are using these things, and even ask questions to like a WordPress expert like myself, and maybe buy a couple hours worth of time for someone to hold you by the hand so that you can make some purchase decisions that might know some things that you don't. So, and very important mechanism. I mean, I do most of my education with other entrepreneurs that they are actually hiring me in that capacity for us to go and do shopping and do needs analysis, and to install the theme, perhaps even, which isn't a difficult process, but just do a little hand holding and make sure that the things that are being chosen are going to be of service to you in the future. So when you're looking at this, when you see that 42,000 people have purchased this thing, then you go through your roster of needs. You want a responsive theme. You want something that works with WooCommerce. You want a slider. They have tons of pre-made templates so that you should be able to find something that you can modify and get the look and feel that you want. That's fantastic. I have a lot of templates. And they have a really cool admin panel and da 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 da. So as you're going through, you're making a note of the features. Are these going to satisfy? So you get a slider, you get additional elements, you get 18 header styles like I was showing you in the Themify. You can modify the header style, all these different header styles, and where it's positioned, left, right, bottom. I love that. Adaptive image resolution. This is very important in some of these newer technologies where you can flip a switch and it doesn't matter what kind of device it's on. This is also a step above what's called responsive. So yeah, tons and tons and tons of people have bought it. I always like that. That means that support is, they're getting paid. That means there's people there that are going to answer your questions. And that is like really, really, really important to me. I don't want to be left out in the cold. I don't want to, not be able to get anything done. Their visual composer is a standardized visual composer, and it's like the Themify one that I showed you. It's very good. It takes, like anything, it takes some core competence. If you want to do something uber fancy, you're going to need like a week to 10 days to get the hang of it. There's tons of videos on YouTube on how to use these visual composers, this one in particular. So real-time translation support, so that it actually supports if you have other versions of the page, or if you want to use the Google Translator. Widgets and background areas. You just go through. Most themes are SEO optimized, so how they're presented. Custom widget areas, I like that as well. WooCommerce compatible. and drag and drop builder. That's the visual composer. And you want something that's customizable. So sometimes, and quite frankly, it takes more than one purchase, because you can go through all these features. You can just grind down. You can buy it, you start developing with it, and over a week's span, you're like, damn, it doesn't do this one thing. I don't quite like this. I don't quite like that. It doesn't integrate in the way that I wanted it to. And you might just have to move on to another theme. Most people don't want to hear that. I have some clients recently that have gone through that process. Um, it qualified and met like all their business needs and everything that they were qualifying. WooCommerce, and and BuddyPress and Gravity Forums and blah 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 blah. Everything compatible with what they wanted, but it just wasn't doing exactly what they wanted. They thought it should just be a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, and they switched to a different one. And as an example, because I'm going to use this example, I had a customer that purchased this theme and was using the Visual Composer and ended up buying this theme, which is called High End, and it is only because of the look and the feel that they were getting with this theme. It was a little bit more rounded. It had a few other things built into it that they liked. It had a template that was in it that the other one didn't have, that was going to make it really easy for them to finish their net result. Um, so when it really comes down to it, it is best laid plans on mice and men. You can do everything and anything to be able to get to your net result and do all your planning. But sometimes it is experimenting with different themes, and I would suggest budgeting, you know, like $100 to $200 to do that experimentation. I like places like Themify because when you buy a club membership, you have a fixed price of ownership. So for 139 bucks, you can get access to every plugin and every theme. So if this theme isn't doing what you need it to do, then you try Ultra or you try Elegant. And I have landing on another of my websites, and I have this on another client's website. And we started with this, and he's like, "Oh, that just isn't doing it for me." And then we converted over to Event, and so you have a library and you have very good support. So I like companies that have these types of memberships, and it's because if one particular type and style of theme doesn't work for me, then another one will. And there's 20, 30 themes that they have now with all these little looks and feels and styles, and they're constantly making new ones, and all of them are very well supported. And they allow you to play with these things too. So if you really like them, you can go ahead and start using them after the 30 days. So their support is fantastic. They're very, very, very nice people. I've had some lots of communication with them. They're very, very responsive in their tech support. And when you're looking at a theme like this, you find them on some of these directories, and you go through, or you send a support ticket, like some pre-sales questions, and see how long it is before they reply, and see how their reply is, and how helpful it is, whether it's terse or whether they're trying to be helpful in their processes. And that's basically exploring themes in a nutshell. Doing a little shopping. It is, I hate to say it, it is a development process, and if you've never done it before, you are learning web design, and you're learning all these little tips and tricks that you've never done before. You're building a new core competence. So you got to be very kind with yourself. You got to be very patient with yourself. There's a lot of little quirks. There's a lot of little uh, custom codes that you can put in that are custom CSS codes that modify the theme without having to hack into it, that sometimes that you'll need on a support basis. Like, you want to modify the width past where it normally is, and these types of things, like customize. This will be my last example. And this is one of the more powerful features, that they have a place to put custom CSS, so that you can like modify aspects of the theme without hacking into it. It's just dropping in a little piece of code. And here's some examples. Like, sorry about that, had an interruption. So basically, things like, I don't want this post to actually show up. And this is the post ID and display none. There's an aspect of that post that it pertains to items like related posts I don't want to show up. And so all I had to do is drop in this code and boom, on that post it's not going to show up. And then the cell padding between the top menu and this area, how big do I want it? I don't want one. I don't want it to be flush with each other, and it's not flush when the theme, like, as default. So I was able to put that in there, and I didn't have to go modify any code. And every time the theme is updated, this stays and is applicable to what I'm doing. So that's just a quick whirlwind tour of themes. All this done in the custom builder that's supplied by them. So thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate your time. I hope that was helpful, particularly looking at how many sales something has is really, really, really one of the best things that you can do when you're shopping for a theme. Actually, when you're shopping for a number of different types of things, but themes particularly, and then sending and looking at the support mechanism and seeing how responsive, because odds are about 70-80% you're going to have a couple questions during the process of setting it up and the lifetime of the theme, and you don't want to have to wait for a week, or on free themes where you never ever ever get an answer and the theme's not acting like it's supposed to. So thank you again very much for joining me. It is Glenn Parker, Entrepreneurial Development and Education. If you ever have any questions and you want to do one-on-one session, I do remote control sessions for WordPress and for SEO, for Google pay-per-click, and a number of different technologies for themes, or if you want widgets, or if there's anything and everything about WordPress that you might want to know, best practices for SEO, all these types of ideas. I am there for you. Down below in the description, there are links to be able to go and purchase time, and as soon as you do, you get access directly via my WooCommerce invoice. You will get a link to my appointment calendar so you can schedule your time right away that's convenient for you. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a fantastic day.